tonight, thank you all for coming. Why you're here is for what we call our patient orientation class. And the purpose of this class is to teach you a little more about your life, about your health, and about the truth. We actually call this talk a paradigm shift, which is nothing more than just seeing things for what they really are instead of for what you think they are. So tonight I'm going to share with you a bunch of information, some of which you may know, some of which you don't. Okay? So in the beginning here, we love to talk. So if there's any of you that have organizations or groups that you would like me to present this information to, if you find this valuable, please let me know. I'd be happy to share it. You're also welcome to invite people here. We have our patient orientation class 3 times a month. We have 2 Monday night classes. This is actually a Monday night class, which moved to Tuesday night, which is also another rarity, but we're all okay with that. And then we have another one at noon on a Wednesday. So we try to make it available for everybody. So if you have any groups or whatever that I can go speak, I'll be happy to travel and go there, or you can bring them here. And several of my patients will bring more and come and see this again. And now upper cervical, who is it for? It's pretty much for everybody, the little ones to the old ones, and everything in between, right? Have you guys ever heard of a term called iatrogenic disease? Has any of you ever heard of it? It's a terminology that's there for a disease produced by the consequence of medical error. Okay?
Yeah. Multiple, no. Well, what is it where the little kids get where their muscles won't, if it's a birth defect caused from a bad delivery?
I don't know.
Cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy? Well, there's that. I didn't know what you were saying, but yes, I get it. So iatrogenic disease basically is, there's a number of unnecessary medical procedures, things that you guys may not be aware of, that are performed every year. There's 7.5 million of them. 120,000 of those result in death every year. This is stuff that we'll be getting, from Harvard, stuff from CDC as well. The big thing I want you to kind of focus on too is the number of deaths that happen every year in America due to this. 784,000 people die every year due to iatrogenic disease. All encompassing. That's 6 jumbo jets crashing every day.
That means the doctor made a mistake?
Or they had an adverse effect of the drugs, or they got a bed sore. I'm going to do the breakdown for you in a minute, but 784,000 every year. 6 jumbo jets crashing every day. And the interesting thing is you don't hear about this. Does anybody want to care to take a stab at why you don't hear about this? Don't you think this is big news?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why don't you hear about it?
Well, they want us to have,
Huh?
they have
want us to keep up
Obama's.
with our old habits and keep going back.
Who's
To the
they?
doctor,
Who's the they?
medical doctor.
No. Look, I know medical doctors. There are a lot of really good guys out there. There are good medical people out there, and they have really big hearts. They're taught a lot of the wrong things, and they're taught how to care for the body incorrectly. They care for the body as if it's a machine, and it's not. It's a vitalistic organism. So that's part of the problem. But there are a lot of good people. This is not about bashing or hating the medical community. It's about recognizing what they're doing wrong, which needs to be corrected. Okay, so there are a lot of people out there that are good. There's a lot of people out there that are bad. The bigger industry is the big picture. Who owns the media? Anybody care? Does anybody know?
I
You know
know,
who owns
but
the
I
media?
can't say right now.
Pharmaceutical companies. Unipec in particular is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and they own all the media. So, if pharmaceutical companies are killing you, they don't want you to know about it. It won't make its way to the news, will it? Every once in a while, you'll find out about things going bad, things going, a drug going here, drug going there, whatever. You hear little stories here and there, but you'll never hear this, which is funny because you know where I got this statistic from? Healthgrades.com, which is a statistic that comes right out of the AMA, the American Medical Association Journal. So this is kind of how it breaks down. Adverse effects to drugs, about 106,000. Medical error, 98,000. That's where your doctor made a mistake right there. Bed sores, 115,000 people died just from bed sores. 88,000 from infections. The infections can come from a lot of different things. Malnutrition, this is one that was shocking. This is a big one because this is all encompassing. This is accompanying the entire healthcare profession, right? So we have the senior communities. or what we call nursing homes, I guess, or something like that, assisted living, hospice, things like that. 108,000 people die from malnutrition in America, where we have more food than we know what to do with, and it shows, right? we do. We eat constantly. There's tons of food everywhere you go, and they die of malnutrition. It makes no sense. And outpatient procedures. This is another shocking one. That's the biggest one. Almost 200,000. And outpatients, when we were all kids, were there such thing as outpatient clinics? Did they even exist? Matter of fact, when you want to go see a medical doctor, it was usually a mom and pop place. It wasn't these huge, malls you go into, and there's 40 doctors working in this multi-million-dollar place, right? You go in there and you wait for an hour until he finally comes in and sees you for a few minutes, right? Medical doctors are totally different than when I was a kid. You went to, it was Dr. McIntyre. I'll never forget him. A great guy. He was a nice guy. His own little place. You would go in and he would take care of you. And he had common sense, and he was a good guy, right?
Sometimes they would come see you.
And sometimes they come see you if you're really sick. I remember when I had pneumonia. Matter of fact, house call, 1978. I'll never forget that. He actually came to check on me because I had really bad pneumonia as a child. Yeah, you don't see that anymore. Now now we're the mom and pop organization. We have the small clinics, right? We don't have these big conglomerates where they all get together and they kind of push together. But they have these outpatient procedures now that you can do surgery, little things like that you can go in there. You can even have tumors removed. You can have cancer removed now as an outpatient. You can have orthopedic surgery done. You can have stitches, all kinds of stuff that happens, vasectomies, whatever. You go in for one day, you're out in a couple hours, you come home. How safe is it though? 200,000 people die every year. I guess it wasn't that safe. Unnecessary procedures. This is a kind of a fun number, but it's a sad number at the same time. 37,000 people had something done that didn't need to have done. Sorry, Mrs. Jones. We didn't mean to remove that. Oops. Surgery related. This is the only one I think is probably a really legitimate number. God bless those surgeons. If I get in a car accident, I'm squirting blood. I'm not going to the chiropractor. I'm going to a surgeon, or a medical doctor, ER. So this is the one number here I would say we want to give them the most slack for because none of us have worked in an emergency room, I don't think, and it's a very intense situation, and I know they're doing the best that they can in those situations. We'll break this up too. Here, this is from the CDC themselves. The leading causes of death, 616,000 for heart disease, 560-some thousand for cancer. Then you get your strokes, respiratory accidents. And the interesting part is, all the way up to about 4 years ago, we were told that heart disease and cancer were the leading killers in America, right? And then they've come out and said it's not. You know what the leading killer in America is? Anybody know? It's your lifestyle. Because lifestyle causes heart disease and cancer. You don't just walk and trip into cancer. Oops, I got cancer. I got heart disease. Oh, darn it. I got that darn heart disease. You got heart disease because you haven't been taking care of yourself. You haven't been doing you haven't eaten the right foods, you haven't been sleeping right, you haven't been exercising. Whatever it is you've done over the years, you got heart disease because you've been smoking, and it just goes on and on and on. It's your lifestyle. It's really what it boils down to. But when we compare those to medical error, which tower looks bigger? Yet this stuff is all over the news, all day long. Heart disease, cancer. Matter of fact, they make those little fun commercials where they show a middle-aged father playing basketball with his son, and he grabs his chest. Oh, he better go get his Bayer aspirin. He must be deficient in Bayer aspirin. That's why his heart's going bad, right? They do this scare tactics to continue to perpetuate this fear into us of something, of what they do is they put more faith in a spoonful of medicine than they do the power that animates the universe. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't work. You look at 9/11, we lost about 3,000 Americans in 9/11. That was a big deal. We've been at war for over a decade due to this particular assault on America. The tsunami that occurred hitting the Indian Ocean, we lost 250,000 people due to that. The earthquake in Haiti, about 250,000 people. In both of those incidences, the entire world came together and brought aid to these people to save them. And that right there is only 1/3 the amount of people that we kill every year in America. And this is a one-time event, and the whole world got together about it. And this is a repeated offense that goes on and on and on. So, I got way ahead of myself here. Where do we rank in the U.S. as far as healthcare goes? It says 37th, right? Think about this. I'm pretty good at geography, and I can think of a lot of countries. Can you name 37 countries off the top of your head?
No.
I mean, I can name the big ones pretty good right off the bat, right? You can go through the big ones, Canada, Russia, England, Italy. You can go through Europe pretty good, the more civilized countries. And when we get to 37th, where are we at? You know, we're in some third world country at this point. We're the most advanced, most civilized, and wealthiest country on the planet. Why are we 37th? And then everybody you know, well, some of you are having grandkids coming in, or some people are having children still coming into this world, they get to inherit this wonderful debt the moment they're born. That debt, we talk about this all the time. This is very expensive, this care. And if it works, it shouldn't be expensive. You know, one night in the hospital can pay for your chiropractic care for a life. You know that? My dad went to the hospital last year. He slipped and fell and got some stitches. $12,000. Because they had to keep him in the hospital to observe him.
I got 4 stitches for 9,000.
Yeah, you got a deal. That was good.
No.
So, and that'll pay for your chiropractic care for life. You know, imagine that, right? So performance, we're at 37. And then these are all statistics, and I put them here. This is for you guys to look at, you know, to see. Did you realize that's where we were in healthcare? Did you realize they're that far back in healthcare? You know, we make up 20% of the entire population of the whole world. We're a very small amount of the population of the whole world. We consume over 60% of all drugs manufactured on the planet. If drugs are good, why aren't we all healthy?
Well, that's where the money is.
So why do we do this? Why do we go through this? Why do people go to the doctor? Why do you all go to the doctor? Not chiropractic doctor, but why do you go to a doctor?
We didn't know you.
Why do people go to the doctor? What is the reason?
Because we don't feel good.
That's right, because you don't feel good. And those are symptoms, right? You start getting those symptoms. So when you go to the doctor, right? You go to the doctor when this kind of stuff here, we go over the counter, this stuff doesn't work. Because, now another thing, when we were kids, could you go to the store and buy this kind of stuff?
Nope.
Were there aisles and aisles of self-med? Can you be your own doctor now? I mean, there are drugs that'll straight kill you that's on the counter right now for anybody to buy. I mean, it's just amazing how you can self-medicate yourself, and this is huge business. Your little kid gets a cough. What do we got to stop that cough. That can't be the right thing. Why do you think the child's coughing? Why do you think the child has a fever? What's the body doing? It's fighting bacteria and viruses off. And look, we must know more than God, so I need to get in the way. I'm going to go ahead and stop this right now because, you know, God can't know anything about the body that he made, right? The reason why the child has a fever is because it's killing bacteria and viruses. That's his job. The reason why it's coughing is it's clearing something out of its lungs. That's its whole job. That's what it's supposed to be doing. Did you know, as far as fever goes, and people get worried about their little kids, right? I know, I have 5 children. We understand what it's like to have kids. Do you know how high of a fever that you could have and how long before it causes any brain damage? Because that's the big fear, right? We don't want our little kids to get fevers and then go into seizures and then die, right? And you know what the fever is? You can get a fever of 106 for up to 72 hours before it causes any brain damage. And a lot of time those micro seizures that occur within a child are rapid convulsions once again to shock the system to kill whatever's in there that's attacking the body. So the seizures aren't always a bad thing either. Seizures can be a bad thing if the child hits its head while it's occurring or happening. But once again, it's a natural response to the body. When a little baby throws up, is the baby expressing health or is it sick? Sometimes it's normal because they ate too much, but but the truth of the matter is it's expressing health. It's just getting something out of its system. But what do? We always get in the way. We're always trying to stop the natural process. When you twist an ankle, what does the ankle do? It swells up because it's protecting you, right? So it's the same thing. Your body is brilliant. It knows how to care for you. It's been caring for you since before you were even conscious of being a body. So when those things don't work, we go to the doctor, we say, hey, give us something more powerful, give us something stronger. Stuff I can't get now. Now I gotta go to a guy that's got a room locked up with all kinds of drugs and he can make that stuff for us. But they don't fix the problem. All they do is hide the symptoms. You know, would any of you allow me to go into your car and take a piece of black tape and put it over your oil light tonight? Can I do that?
No.
Why not?
You're hiding the symptom.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna wait till the car starts knocking before something's wrong, you're like, oh, maybe we should have that engine checked, right? It doesn't make sense. Why would you want to wait till, you're conditioned and trained since you were young to wait till something's wrong and then go try to get it fixed. But the problem is they didn't even tell you what's really going on with you, what's really wrong. They're telling you things that are wrong are really not wrong. It's just your body expressing health. So why are we so unhealthy if we consume so much of the drugs? You know, a lot of it is work. Work, again, is different. Some of you who are even a little older than me, are the work weeks the same as they were 30 years ago?
No.
Do people work like they used to 30 years ago?
No.
It's very different. The work is very stressful now. It's very compressed. You know how hard you work every week. You know how hard you put in those hours to provide for your family. It's a lot different. Life is different than it was before, and it's created a stressful environment. And stress on your body causes disease. It causes sickness. Most of the time, our bodies can handle stress, can't they? But if you have a subluxation, if you have pressure on this brainstem, the body's not functioning 100% as it is. Stress now becomes overwhelming to you. You know, when you were younger, you could handle unbelievable amounts of stress. But as you've gotten older, the stress gets harder on the body, doesn't it? And they tell you it's because you're getting older. It's not true. Something's wrong. Something's out of balance. Something's right. Because you can function your entire life and handle stress all your life. Some of the greatest men I know are some of the busiest men I've ever met. They work circles around. They could work 4 20-year-olds to the floor. Couldn't even begin to keep up with them, and they're in their 70s. And it's because they got themselves in the right place. They got their body balanced, they're eating right, they're taking care of themselves. So what's the difference between what I do, which is this health care, and then what the medical community does, which is called disease care? Let me break it down a little bit for you. They're going to chase after your symptoms. You go in there, you go, oh, my arm hurts. Well, here's a shot, or here's some sort of rub, or here's a sling. They're going to do everything from the outside, right? To take care of that symptom so you don't feel it anymore. And symptoms, you know, we go for that a lot. You know, we guys heard of leprosy, right? You know what leprosy is? When the body starts to fall apart and your parts actually start falling off of you. You've heard about it in the Bible. They mention it a lot. You don't hear a whole lot about it nowadays. But leprosy is a pretty bad thing. Did you know when their body parts fell off, they didn't feel anything? If they weren't feeling any pain, they're probably okay, right? Because that's what people are like, I don't go to a chiropractor. I feel fine. You know, I'm sure the heart attack victim felt fine too before he had a heart attack. You know, but things add up over time, and that's the thing. How you feel doesn't make a difference. And people are always going to doctors because about how they feel about stuff, right? You know, if you have a gallbladder and it's filled with gallstones, did you know that the pain you get is actually in your left shoulder blade? So if I did surgery on my left shoulder blade, would that have fixed the gallbladder? It doesn't fix it, does it? So chasing pain is not the best thing to do. Emergency situation, once again, I'm a big fan of the ER people. Of course, a little biased. I worked with the fire department and I'm a first responder. So I like the stuff we did. It was important to help people in emergencies. It's unbelievably expensive. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys how much healthcare is. Because some of you have, you'll have government insurance, and then you'll also have your supplement. You need a supplement on top of that, which you pay unbelievable amounts of money to. I know my mom and dad have been paying $1,200 a month for the last 30 years for the help. He worked for the government, so he got a supplemental insurance, but he still pays $600 each for both of them. You know, think of how much money they've spent over 30. I told my mom, I go, Mom, if you would have just took care of yourselves and kept with that money away, you'd be a multi-millionaire right now. Create long waits. You know how long it takes to go to doctors. Doctor maintains control. We're not symptom-based. Those of you who are under my care or just beginning to get under my care know that I love you and I care about you and the stuff you're feeling, but how you feel does not at all in any way, shape, or form determine how or when I correct you, does it? I use objective findings. I look at what's really going on inside you. Because if I went by how you felt, would I be able to give you the truth? Would I be able to fix what's really going on with you? I can't, because pain could mean a lot of things. Who knows what pain? Pain could be a good thing. You know, what if you sprained your ankle? And I thought, well, there's pain there. Let me get in there and start moving that ankle around. Is that a good thing? No, leave it alone, right? There's sometimes you got to leave things alone. We're very inexpensive compared to the other ones. When you actually start charging $10,000 an adjustment, how do you think that would go over? Probably not very well. We give patient the control, and that's another big deal, is you all know that I like you, but I don't want you here all the time. I want to get you better as quickly as possible, then I want you out into the world enjoying your life, and then tell your friends. Let them know that they can be free too. And that's really how we do things here. I want you guys to heal and then move on. All right, then we come in and we just do checks, just like you'd have your oil checked. You come in and get checked periodically throughout. Really, you guys should only be getting adjusted maybe 2-3 times a year once you're in wellness care. You know, you don't need to get your neck adjusted every time you come in to see somebody. That's not how it should be. If you are, then something's going on with you. But it requires commitment. Once again, we're in a society right now that we are irritated that it takes an entire minute to heat up your pizza. I mean, seriously. We stand in front of the microwave, we're like, oh, come on, a whole minute, you're just waiting for your food, you know? And we're so excited, we gotta be on the phone, we gotta talk, not only have a conversation with somebody, but I gotta text somebody else, and then I gotta face chat, and then, you know, take a little photo of myself and shoot it to somebody else while I'm talking to somebody next to me. And you know, I mean, it's like we are in this totally different place, aren't we? I mean, society is unlike anything we've ever seen. No generation on earth has ever been where we are right now. We have no idea what we're doing. I mean, how many phone calls do you think are flying through our bodies right now? How many television shows are flying through our bodies right now? How many microwaves? We don't know what's going on, but these little cool little boxes can catch phone calls, TV stations, and we're just shooting energy all around the world. And what are we? We're energy. We're a bunch of cells, right? That communicate with yourself. So the commitment. Most people want to get better fast. They're impatient. They want to be better yesterday. It took them 30 years to get where they are. They come to me and they're like, can you take care of that in 2 adjustments? Yeah, sure. Just like that, you know? It doesn't happen like that, you know? I say some people get better faster than others, and those that follow my plan of care and my recommendations, they get better faster. Because I can't chase you home. I can't, when you start pulling into that drive-through, I can't go, oh, stop that. You know, don't go to McDonald's, right? I can't make it. I can't go, get up, okay, it's 6 o'clock, let's go for a walk. Come on, Sanji, let's go. I can't make people do that. So there is a bit of commitment on your part and things you need to do. But the one thing I promise you is I'll never tell you a lie. I'll tell you the truth. I will give you the information that you need to live a longer and healthier life. But it's up to you to do outside of here. What I can do is I can move that bone for you. I can get that pressure off the brainstem so that you and God can communicate a little better. But outside of here, I'm not going to follow you home. So it requires commitment. So it's time for a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift, once again, is when you have a change of one way of thinking to another. It's a revolution, transformation, metamorphosis. This picture here, now some of you may have seen this stuff. Those of you that have, do not cheat. Those of you who haven't, I want to know. Jesse, what is this? Do you know what that is? What is that?
Looks like some kind of duck.
A duck. Okay, good. Does anybody see anything other than a duck?
I see
Okay.
a bun.
There you go. So it's a duck this way, Jesse. See that? But when you go like this, this is the face, and this is the eye, and these are the ears. Now we got a rabbit looking this way. So it's a duck looking that way. I got one more. Okay. You seen this before? Okay. Who hasn't seen this before? Who hasn't seen this picture before? Okay, Mike. What do you see in this picture here?
Side view, a woman with her head shaped a little to the side, long hair.
Where a young woman?
Yeah,
You see a young woman looking this way?
yep.
Yeah, that's true. There's a young woman. There's a side of her cheek right there. That's her nose and her eyelash, her hair, her little feather. There's her neck, and there's her pearls, right?
Yep.
But let me show you something else. You ready?
Yep.
How about if we looked at an older lady with this is her nose, that's her mouth, that's her chin,
yeah.
and there's her jaw. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so it's not always what you see, it's how you see it. So, what is health? Is health looks? Is it this physique thing, this airbrushed perfect picture? Or is it the attitude of these guys here, we're not giving up, we're still working out? Or is it performance? You know, I can grab a tractor tire and throw it at you. That must be healthy. What about this? And then looks can be deceiving. This guy right here is probably the most famous body in the world, right? This guy has been well known forever, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
This guy is, I mean, when I was a kid, he was my hero. He's one of the guys that inspired me to lift weights and go into athletics because I want to be more like a guy like this. But the interesting thing is he drinks, he smokes cigars, and he doesn't live a very healthy lifestyle. As he was younger, he may have, but now he's gone through 3 bypass surgeries, 3 heart surgeries. Is that healthy?
You ever remember hearing of a guy named Steve Reeves?
Steve Reeves.
Mr. Universe, one went between the towers and pulled the pillars down
Mm-hmm.
on TV. That was Steve Reeves.
He was an older, that was back in the, like, in the 60s, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was old time.
I used to work for him. He had to work out every day for 3 hours or he'd die. Because his heart muscle, he would have like a Charlie horse,
Mhm.
have a heart.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. That's sometimes you can overlift too. But this guy right here, born with no arms and no legs, and he's got no sickness at all, and he takes good care of himself. So could it be when you connect the brain to the body? What about traditional view of health? They think, from the outside in. They do this little fun thing here called vaccinations. You look like you're having a good time right there, doesn't
It's
you?
usually me.
That's good times right there. That's pretty natural, right? And then shoving a rod of metal in your body and then injecting a fluid into it. That sounds natural, right? I always tease, I say, when people go, why don't you donate blood? I'm like, if God wanted me to donate blood, he would put a spigot on me. And I can just open it up and pour a little out and keep it back in here. I don't like needles. I never have. I don't think they're natural. And putting stuff from the outside in doesn't fix you. And most people will take drugs, but they're not deficient in a certain drug. They'll just take it to mask the symptoms. Once again, they're not actually taking it. Although there are some drugs out there that save lives. With people with thyroid issues, if they don't take that thyroxine 4, they will die. So there are certain drugs out there that are really good. When the body has done all that it can do and it stops functioning, thank God for certain drugs that men have created that can keep people to live a longer life and more functional life. Okay, I'm not talking about those drugs. I'm talking about the other stuff. The symptom hiding stuff that doesn't do anything. Like, what about the cholesterol drugs? We talked a little bit about that. You guys have heard of statin drugs, right? Statin drugs, it's proven they absolutely kill your kidneys. Your kidneys affect your heart. They'll kill you, but guess what? You got better cholesterol. I don't think it's going to kill you, but your cholesterol levels are down where the doctor's happy, right? Why not just eat better and exercise? How about trying that? And you always hear this excuse for people who go, well, I tried working out and I tried eating. And then you can see their gut hanging over their jeans, and that's not true. They worked out for 2 weeks and it didn't work. That's not a lifestyle. A lifestyle is a change in everything you do all the time, not trying something for a couple weeks. So back to you. Life at your potential is healthy. The power that made the body heals the body. I have a little sign of this on the wall over there. I guess about the side of the postcard on my wall where it says the power of the body heals the body. Takes up my whole hallway down there because I'm a firm believer in that. That is the truth of it. As you take care of, as long as you take care of it, and a lot of it, once again, you hear me repeat the same things over and over again. And there's a reason why I repeat them, because you need to hear them. Nutrition, exercise, those are important parts of your life because you are, basically what you do to your body is what you are. So what creates this health? What creates the health in your body? I guess that's another important thing. You're in this body, you were born with this body, you've been with your body longer than anybody in this room, right? How is you expressing life right now? Because there's something in you right now, and it's not your heart, it's not your kidneys, it's not your body parts. I could take parts of you out right now and put it in the refrigerator, but that's not you, right?
It's the DNA.
There's something in there. No, it's not your DNA.
Your soul.
There's more to it. Let's go back. We'll come back to that in a minute, but that's a good point. So what is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And where it comes from is above, down, and then inside and out. That's how health expresses itself. Okay, it comes from above, down, and then it comes from the inside out. That's how health expresses itself. So what do we need to live? We're going to hit this stuff again. We need food, right? Healthy food. We need good water. And we need oxygen. How long can you go without food?
Probably 7 days.
I'm with you. But this says 30 days.
Oh.
I'm thinking 7 days. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
I'd start eating ants.
Yeah, start eating. So how about water? How many days do you think you can go without water?
Probably 3.
It says 7 days.
Oh, jeez.
So you're a softy like me.
I'm not going to survive
How about oxygen? How long can you go without oxygen?
about 3 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes. How about this stuff called nerve energy? Your nerves, your central nervous system. How long can you go without this nerve energy?
You can.
Yeah, nerve energy, 0. You can't survive without it. So how important is it to maintain a healthy nervous system? It's the most important component in your body. So what is nerve energy? Do you guys know what this nerve energy is? You ever heard the term innate intelligence? You guys ever heard of that term before? I'll tell you a little bit about innate intelligence here. Innate intelligence equals God, and I'll explain why. Okay? There are 75 trillion cells in your body. Okay? Each cell has about 200,000 reactions every second, which is 1.5 times 10 to the 19th. It's a lot of zeros, right? That's happening in your body every second. Now, how much of that are you thinking about, Jesse, right now? I mean, are you concentrating on all these reactions? You're not, are you? I mean, the biggest questions you got to ask yourself, what am I going to have for lunch today? Or I got to watch where I'm walking so I don't trip and fall on myself. We think about very little thing. Are you thinking about processing oxygen in your lungs right now? Are you monitoring your heart rate right now? Are you thinking about how fast your hair is growing? You're not thinking about it. Are you thinking about how your eyes are focusing right now and converting light upside down into eyes? And, you know, it's interesting, right? How there's trillions of things going on in your body every second, but you don't have to think about it. What's running that stuff?
The innate intelligence.
Yeah. And so how many reactions do you think will happen in a second? We already know, but in a minute, in a day, in a month. They're infinite. And the only other thing that I know that's infinite in this universe is what? That's right. So that's why we say it's run by God. God runs everything. He created you, so there's something within you that's running all of this stuff that you don't have to think about. So, innate intelligence is God. So it's the inborn, innate, organizing intelligence that always acts in your best interest to keep us functioning at our optimum potential. That's what it does. It always knows best. What we like to do is get in the way. So what happens when you get a cut? What fixes that? Did you get your little Superman laser eyes out and seal it shut, you know? Little beans, you know, solderize it? No, it takes care of itself. What's really interesting is how you'll get a cut, right? And then it stops, it coagulates. But the next morning you wake up and you look at the cut, it looks good, doesn't it? What healed it overnight? Because all it can do is during the day it can stop the bleeding. It can't heal until you go to sleep. You actually have to be unconscious for your body to heal itself. That's pretty neat. That's why it's important to sleep. What releases adrenaline? You know, we've all heard about these stories about my mom got the car ran over on her, and this little 14-year-old kid come over and grabbed the car and picked it up off her mom. You know, what causes that adrenaline? Have you ever been scared before? Yeah, if you feel that right there, what causes that? You know, you ever walked into a room and two people were fighting before you got in there? You didn't know it. You walk in the room, you just feel it. You're like, ooh, what happened in here? And nothing. You know, I mean, you know something's going on. There's a certain, you know, energy that's in there. You can experience it. You're really in tune with what's going on around you. So how does a baby know to grow a heart? It's not magic, right? Not positive thinking. Babies grow. They know how to grow all this stuff. It's all these things. Before the baby ever learns English or language or anything, it's already functioning at a higher level than the most intelligent men in the world could ever comprehend. They could never comprehend this type of, you know, there's not even a computer in the world that can process that much information. And we got some pretty cool computers now. So we got innate intelligence. So what can decrease this innate intelligence? It's expression in your body. So what can slow this down?
Your head ain't on straight.
Oh man, I love that guy back there. He was a prize. That's true. So we're going to come back. So here's health, here's death. Okay, health is 100% expression of innate intelligence, and death is 0%, right? That makes sense. We can kind of talk in different terms. So what's gonna cause problems between health and death? What's gonna cause problems? What do we deal with every day? It's stress. You deal with stress, right? And what kind of stresses do we deal with? There's 3 kinds of stress we talk about: chemical, emotional, and physical. 3 of them. Chemical, you know, are like toxins in the air. And this is funny, you know, when you put pollution in the air, toxins in the air, chemicals in the air, what do we call it? We call it air pollution, right? And you put chemicals in the water, what do we call it? We call it water pollution, right? When you put chemicals in the body, and we call it what? Medicine. Okay, so these are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm gonna go through them fairly quickly. There's outside chemicals and then there's inside chemicals, right? This one's a little more tricky. Emotions. What are your muscles attached to? Your bones, right? And what happens to your muscles when you're emotionally stressed out?
They tense.
They get tight, right? They can pull those bones out of place. So you can have stress, which causes headaches, work stress, relationships, driving home, because seeing the drive between right around 5 o'clock at night, this is around the cycle around here. Those people that love to drive 30 miles an hour in the passing lane, those are my favorite. And then we also have death. All these things you deal with in life are very stressful. They can cause emotional distress. These are the easy ones. When people come to me, they don't usually consider these two, do they? Chemical or emotional. Well, they come for this stuff here, right? Like, oh, doctor, I got in a car accident, right? Oh man, I was out this weekend tubing, having a good time, and I fell off. Or, oh, my son was on the trampoline this weekend. Or this weekend we're at the dive club. These kind of stuff happen all the time, right? And that's what people come to me for mainly, if they think of that. But the number one cause of diminished expression of innate intelligence is
Head being crooked.
subluxation.
Compressed.
Cervical subluxation. And that's really, really what it is. And I'm going to show you a quick little clip here. Little video.
What is a subluxation? Well, don't be concerned about the technical term subluxation. It just means that there's a misalignment of one or both of these top two bones in the top of your spine, the atlas or the axis. So you don't have to be concerned about the term. What you do need to be concerned about is if you have a subluxation and the negative impact that it's having on your body.
1/3 of the nerves up here produce pain when they're pinched. 2/3 of them don't. So you see, 2/3 of the people are walking around like this saying, I don't need a chiropractor, I feel fine. Okay. And they feel fine because the body has produced certain chemicals to deaden the nerves. Otherwise, we would all have just unrelenting pain. And so these hidden subluxations, sadly enough, are as common as cavities.
Picture if you have an electrical panel in your garage that runs electricity to your entire house. If the switches down below you flip those breaker switches, they run power to the regions of the house, but that main power switch turns on power to the entire thing. So if you don't get these two bones back in alignment in this upper cervical spine, it's like that main power switch. You're not getting that information to that entire house. Your body can't function or heal properly.
The challenge that you have with vertebral subluxations is the fact that the vertebra is just not moving and is crushing and compressing the nerves. And the end result is that the person can start spiraling downhill, especially if they're using a lot of pharmacological agents, because there isn't a drug in the world that's going to move the atlas back into position.
And so that's one of the unique dynamics of upper cervical care. An upper cervical care doctor is not chasing after pain or symptoms. They're going right for the cause of that disease or ailment, which is the subluxation. And we're talking about precise corrections here, sometimes millimeters, sometimes even a fraction of a millimeter.
That particular 1 millimeter at the atlas, that particular 1 millimeter could cause you to have asthma. It could cause you to have reflux. It could cause your heart to not work properly. That 1 millimeter affects your nervous system. And because the nervous system controls everything, that's why that has such a powerful impact.
When your top vertebra dislodges, the rest of the bones all the way down the spine go out of the line. It's called spinal compensation. When you put the top one back in, through muscle memory, the muscles literally pull the rest of the vertebra in. It's called spinal decompensation. And as those changes take place, the neurological pathways come back to life and the body virtually mends itself. And this is why we chiropractors say that we don't cure anything. It's the body that does the curing.
So that's what I say, I'm a facilitator. I remove the interference and I just watch the mirror.